Hello, we're live an hour
Hi,
later than we normally do, but that's okay. Things happen.
that's
Y'all
right.
can watch it on video anyway, right? You can watch the
Exactly.
recording. So, PS about that recording, hop over to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and then that way it'll be in your feed. Um, just look up Angie ZXUH. That's me. Or look all over the place in the group and on my Facebook page, and in the email I just sent out. There's a link to YouTube where you can go pop over there and subscribe.
And
Anyway,
I'll be cross promoting it as well. So eventually you'll be able to find it on tarotgeek.com and the Tarot Geek Facebook page.
oh yeah, you will be able to find it on angiezxuh.com as well. So I'll be posting links right there directly on my website. Hello, everybody. We've got some watchers today.
Sweet.
That's fantastic. So today we're going to talk about. Oh well, I guess we should tell everybody what this is, right? Does it resonate with you? So we're gonna throw things out there. We're gonna talk about things woo woo. I'm excited because we're doing a card of the day today,
Yep.
and I'm reviewing a deck, like my favorite deck, really. But if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, take what you want and leave it behind. There's no judgment, right?
Yep.
We just
Not everything resonates with everybody. That's for
nope,
sure.
it sure doesn't. And it's interesting when you look at that concept because usually it's all the same thing. It's just presented in a different way, for it to resonate with different people.
Yep.
Anyway, so we're going to go back to leveraging the energy of different places or different places in the world that are just fun to be in.
Yeah. And it
Um,
places with high spiritual energy.
right. And so before we move on to the actual list that you've got, and I know you do,
Mm-hmm.
um, I I came across one this week in a session with a client, the Grand Canyon.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder
And
if that's in my list.
yeah, I mean, I would think, I mean, it's a big, giant, humongous crystal formation, right? How could it not have amazing
True.
energy?
True.
But what I discovered in that session, because you know me, I'm connecting to energy all over the place all the time,
Yep.
is that the energy down inside the canyon is different from the energy if you're up above and looking down in.
Mm.
Because the energy down inside, right, is
You're surrounded by the earth.
exactly right. And it shields you, so to speak, from all the radio waves and the cell phone waves and
Huh.
the, you know,
I I
whatever,
I bet
pager
it's really
waves.
I bet it's really calm down there.
Yeah. So I'm dying to go now, but I wondered, do you have to ride a donkey to get to the bottom?
No. You
That's good.
so just on a traveler's point of view here, we have not been there yet, but it's been on our list for a while. And my wife is always doing the research, and she says, "Oh, okay, we can hike down. You just hike down, right?
Oh,
It's
okay.
it it's a I think it's a 4 hour hike. Anyway, it was something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's not gonna happen. 4 hour
Oh,
hike. No.
all right.
Give me a Jeep. I don't know. I'll parasail.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. And especially if you don't tell anyone ahead of time, and they're wondering, do we need to take her away or
Rappel? You rappel? I could rappel.
I have not done that. I'm not an extreme sports kind of a
And for me, the hiking is what's the extreme. Not that I don't
so
like to walk in nature, but the 4 hour thing.
we
Because
um we
yeah.
built up our endurance over COVID. Actually, I have COVID to blame for that.
Oh well. See me, I'm a functional agoraphobic.
Oh, interesting.
So I have trouble going more than 45 minutes away from my base of operations.
Oh,
So
wow.
so like from home
Yep.
or from my car, like if we drive somewhere and park, 45 minutes is my limit. Like,
Interesting.
yeah. So I mean, so it doesn't keep me totally inside, although I could I could get there. I could get there if I'm not careful, if I spend too much time in.
Uh-huh.
I'm married to a hermit, so that's here. I could do that. I don't want that,
Right.
but yeah, so that it's That's the deal with that
Yeah,
for me.
we so during COVID, our prior to COVID, our vacation style was big city, being in um, happening places, restaurants, cool funky shops, and then that all gets shut down during COVID, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? Well, let's try camping. Long story there. I won't even tell you the whole thing. But by the way, did you know a three-person tent doesn't hold three people?
That would be
We
my guess.
we found out. But anyway, we got into the woods, and what's amazing about the woods, energetically and spiritually, is that there's just this calmness out in the woods that you can't get anywhere else. And we started doing little hikes and then longer hikes and taking a trip to a camping spot, a national or a state park, and then taking the hikes there. Wow, wow. So I just fell in love with being out in tree covered these
It's
deep
amazing,
thick
isn't it?
canopy. It is, it really
The
is.
trees,
Yeah,
like
that's
if you really learn to connect with energy and you go in with the idea of leveraging the energy of where you are for the purposes of healing and release and grounding, um, if you sit quietly and listen to the trees,
hmm,
wow.
yep,
I mean, here's the thing, right? The trees are here to support us. The trees are
yeah,
here generating oxygen for us to breathe.
right.
If you wipe the trees off the planet,
Ruh-roh.
yeah, exactly right. It's funny that I heard Rutro in the car while I was driving over here
Oh, that's
today,
funny.
or
That's
driving
so.
back home today. I don't. It might have had something to do with all the snow that was coming down, but
Let me tell you a funny
a
thing
little
about.
bit.
Oh, did I lose you, Angie? I lost you, I think.
Oh no. Oh, here I am.
Oh,
I'm back
okay,
now.
we're back.
Wow, that's weird. I shouldn't be getting lost. I'm on.
As long as you're back.
Yep, that's true. I'm on Ethernet. I shouldn't be getting lost. That's
Yeah.
not good. All right. Anyway.
I was going to say, let me say one thing about nature. So, my son likes frogs and toads, and
uh,
so I tried. I've done this a couple times, and it's worked. While walking, I'll say, okay, I'm going to tune into to nature. I think there's a frog up ahead. I think we're going to see a frog, and then like a minute later, you hear this little rustle, rustle, rustle in the leaves, and there he is. There's the toad. I'm like, cool. It's just amazing when that kind of that comes together. Anyway, it's exciting.
well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm all about, right? Like
Yeah.
helping people understand how to connect to the energy around them. That's why this particular topic was so made me so happy because you leverage the energy, and there are big places. There's Stonehenge and the Grand Canyon and Sedona and all of these places, but there are small places, and you can find those places right where you are.
Hmm.
You can
For
find
sure.
them within a half an hour from your home.
Yep.
Although like I don't do dark water, so lakes and rivers and things, that's also not me.
Okay.
um but trees and canopies on the
Yeah.
overhead or open, where like if you get lucky enough to be in a place like some of those spots in Minnesota where it's like there's no light pollution, so it's so dark.
Oh, at night. Yeah. I've
Where
been.
like and it looks like you can just reach up and just grab a handful of stars right out of the sky. I mean,
Yep.
that's amazing. And if you learn to tune into that energy, I mean, you put your cards out in it, you put your crystals out in it. Why
Right.
why not put yourself out in it?
Good point. Northern Michigan is like that. So I'm from Michigan, way north, not in the Upper Peninsula, but there's a tiny little peninsula on the lower side of Michigan, and there's no light at all at night. It's a state park, and you go out there, and especially if it's like a moonlit lit night, it's amazing to see
Mhm.
everything lit by the moon.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I would love to do a retreat near something like that.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
to do moon meditations and like, because I harness the energy of the moon to bring it into a meditation. But what about if you could just do it and the energy of the moon was there? Like,
Right.
you weren't inside, you were
Oh,
outside, you could
that would
see
be
it and
cool.
you were bathed in it. Like that would be spectacular.
That would be really cool.
So this, do you catch the aurora up there as well?
Not in Michigan. Then you have to go a little further north for that.
Okay.
Once in a while. Once in a while. My brother took a trip to Alaska a couple of years ago and has pictures of the aurora.
Oh, I can only
Unreal.
imagine. I can only imagine. Like
Yep.
that is on my bucket list for sure. That is more than 45 minutes away from my
In,
home.
indeed. And he
But
said
is
it's really cold up there.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's like that what is it? Is it Iceland?
Yes.
Iceland that has
Yes.
those clear hotel rooms where you can lay
Yeah.
in bed and look up at the
Right.
aurora. I mean, my God. Like
Speaking of
I would
spiritual
fly over the
places,
ocean for that.
speaking of spiritual places, Iceland is huge. If you've ever studied anything about runes, Iceland has like I think the oldest rune carvings anywhere on the planet, and the energy of like those original divination tools and masters comes really rich in Iceland.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, that makes total sense to me.
Right. You know what's weird about Iceland is that while the rest of Europe was getting conquered by the Catholic Church, Iceland was just too much trouble to get to. And so they held on to their original religion and culture much longer than anywhere else in Europe. So by the time the Catholic Church got there, it was kind of like, well, here we're in this little place. They didn't try really hard to conquer, and they kind of let their folk religion and the Viking religion and the runes and all that. They kind of let it coexist
Oh,
with
how benevolent of them.
right. So it wasn't like the womp over the head they had in other parts of Europe. So anyway, I found that the preservation, and this is just what I've read about Iceland, the preservation of the Viking, sorry, not the Viking, the runes and the religion, I guess I'll call it, or the spiritualism surrounding the runes stayed there much longer and much deeper.
Well, and I know how to find it even still. So, but that's another conversation for another day. We actually one of our viewers says that they lived in Eagle River, Wisconsin, and the night sky there was amazing.
Cool.
So Eagle River must be way north. I am not. I live right below Wisconsin, but I'm not really familiar with you know what's where. But
Yep.
I believe they mean they saw the aurora almost every night in the winter.
Oh, cool.
That
Okay.
would be
Yep.
so amazing. So
Yep.
thank you for sharing that. I can't actually. You must be in the Facebook group. 7.5 hours north. You must be in the Facebook group, so I don't know. I can't see who you are. Um, you have to give StreamYard permission to show me your name. StreamYard.com/Facebook. But anyway, um,
Call your
yeah,
IT guy.
I mean, there is, I've been to Duluth, Minnesota in the winter and flew around the airport for about an hour
Hmm.
before they turned back and went to Minneapolis because they said that they weren't prepared for the ice on the runways. And I'm like, in
That's a
Duluth
big
in
right.
December? Like, yes, because the winter was such a surprise to you. Oh, hi, Joanne. Um, I don't
Yeah,
know
I can,
what that means.
when the ice really hits though, it takes a long time to really de-ice those on runways. Freezing rain is like the biggest um, weather pattern over here in the north.
Yeah.
Snow we get through because it's just snow. We just plow it away. But freezing rain's a big deal. So if it's
yeah, it's tough. It was really cold because I remember them saying it's -5, and I'm
Oh,
like, well, I'm just staying on here until you take me back to Chicago. Like, forget it. But it was kind of a blessing in disguise because I wound up in Minneapolis, and I needed to be in Duluth by 8 o'clock the next morning. Because I was on a
mhm.
business trip. So I found a friend and we drove from Minneapolis to Duluth. So I got to see all of that,
Oh, cool.
because I always think when you fly over Minnesota, it reminds me a little bit of like Pleasantville, because you can see the cities and then it's dark. Like there's
Mhm.
so much, like they're just kind of sprinkled in amongst the dark, like unlike how when you fly in over Chicago and it's lights as far as you can
Right,
see.
the whole Chicago metropolitan area is lit up.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep,
I suppose I'm halfway from Chicago to the western border, and it's lit up at least all the way here, and you
yep.
get through Rockford and all the way west, and it's still lit up. Like there's not really a whole lot of empty space around here, but we do have um, areas around here that have some pretty incredible energy, and then there's always those places that have um the left behind energy. So,
Oh, like residual?
yeah, residual energy from the 60s or the 7, like energy
Sure.
imprints, right? Like
Yep.
some places that you might say they're haunted. There are spirits that hang
Mhm.
around out here in places. But there is residual energy. I was in a meditation in the basement of a metaphysical shop that's in downtown Crystal Lake. That's where I live, Crystal Lake. And um I remember I was in this meditation. It was after yoga. So it's yoga, it's savasana, right?
Okay.
Like after
Yep.
yoga, which was always one of the best places for me to make any kind of energetic connections with anything.
Uh-huh.
And I found myself in the living room of the Dick Van Dyke Show. And I was like, well, that's weird. It's
Huh.
just weird. And so, and I was new to this game. So all these people I'm talking to, and they're like trying to figure it out. Oh, is it, about the power of three, or, what is it trying
Mhm.
to tell you, and blah, 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 whatever. Well, I found out like the next week when I went in that the shoe store next door was part of the same building. It's a series of really big buildings, these
Okay.
storefronts in
Yeah.
downtown, like it's real old timey downtown, right?
Yep.
Like, and they're right on top of each other. So the shoe store that was right next door to this, actually in the same building, had just opened up their storeroom in the back that they hadn't touched since the 70s.
Ooh,
And I
busting
was
those
like,
doors
well,
wide open, right?
yeah, right? Like, like, and that store is in a cool place because there's vortexes in there, vortices, I don't know, however you
Right.
say it, you know.
Vortices, I think is right.
Um, but yeah, so it was like, oh, because I was in another meditation in there, um, and it was a guided meditation where they
Mhm.
took you through a river. She's
Sure.
like you're walking along the side of a river, and what do I see? Mr. Limpet. Like, I don't know if you're old enough, if you're listening, if you're old enough to know who that is, but I think you might
Yeah.
remember Mr. Limpet, right? Like Don Knotts. He was a cartoon fish on
Hilarious. Yeah. Yep.
a, you know,
Hilarious.
but it was like, that energy. So my explanation, that energy was something I recognized, right? That 60s, sort of 60s energy.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so
Yeah.
because I came up, like, I don't think, say, my daughter-in-law, who had never seen Mr. Limpet, would have seen Mr. Limpet. Nobody else saw Mr. Limpet. I
Right.
saw Mr. Limpet because it was, 70s, 60s, 70s
Mhm.
energy
And
imprint,
that was
and that was
resonating.
familiar to me. And so, oh, hello from the 60s, hello from the
Mhm.
70s. See Mr. Limpet, like
Huh.
metaphoric, so to
Right, right,
speak.
right, right. The energy was familiar to you. It
Yeah,
resonated with you.
right, exactly right, and I took it with me, like, it's
Cool.
an amazing story though, isn't it? Like, you just
Yeah.
never know, like, everybody. I think this is, a good part of this conversation is that we talk about, again, Sedona or the
Hmm.
Grand Canyon or Stonehenge, or I mean, oh my God, some of the places in Ireland and Scotland, the
Right? Oh,
castles and
that's
the
on my bucket list.
oh my gosh,
Right?
like I would love to like put together a retreat
Yep.
to
Yep.
like there's
Sign me
quite a
up.
few places. But don't wait. Don't
Oh,
wait, right?
that's a
Don't
wow. What a great message, Angie. Don't
thank
wait.
you.
Right.
Don't wait.
You can
Don't wait
find
because there's places right,
right
you know,
here.
find something where you are. Find a
Yep.
tree, find a forest. The whole earth has been here for millennia,
Hmm.
right? Um so, find a place that's kind of out of the mainstream, and maybe you can get yourself out of the collective consciousness a little bit and see what you can sense, see what you can feel. Take yourself to an antique store
Mm.
and try to connect with the
Wow.
energy in the antique
That's
store.
cool. That's a
You
great
know,
idea. Huh.
what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you
Yep.
smell?
Yep. I have a friend, Shelley, who's a psychic medium, and she used to live on Mackinac Island, which is north
Oh,
of
I can
yeah,
only imagine.
right? So for people who don't know, Mackinac Island is a small island, part of Michigan. It's right in the middle of Lake Michigan and I believe Lake Huron. But point is, there's no cars on the island. Actually, there's one. There's one emergency vehicle, but all the transportation on the island is horse and buggy or bicycles or walking. So there's very little electronic mechanical noise there. And she actually ran a metaphysical store on the island. And then one of the things she did is she would take people through tours of the spiritual centers and vortices on the island. There's Indian burial grounds there. It's been long used as a spiritual center by like the American Indian cultures. And she said the energy there was just amazing.
Oh. Okay, so
And that's close.
I have a couple of things, like, totally amazing, and for some reason, you brought back this memory. I remember a boss that I worked with took his family to a vacation on Mackinac Island,
Yeah.
and they were walking down the street, and some guy was riding by on his bicycle, and he almost ran the little guy over,
Oh,
right? Like, and they, I mean, he apologized. It was an accident,
sure,
whatever.
sure.
But he said that my boss, John, this guy that I worked for, said, I looked on the back of the bike and that he had a little, like a little fake license plate that
Right.
said, God is my co pilot. So he's like, what did God take the day off? Like, so,
Yep.
it's funny how little things
Yeah.
will just sort of jar your memory. And then
Mm.
I was on a my sister my sister used to uh Harrah's gamble. She was kind of a big shot with Harrah's, they were always sending
Oh,
those free trips.
oh,
And
okay,
so
right.
she took me to one in Reno, Nevada.
Hmm.
And while we were there, cuz you don't want to spend your whole time in the casino. I mean, I guess you could, but
I wouldn't.
it was like 3 days or 4 days. So we took a tour of Tahoe, Lake Tahoe.
Hmm.
And I don't remember exactly where we were, but I remember on this tour that we took, it was red, like hills, and the hills had openings, like probably caverns,
Okay.
and you were not allowed to go up in them. Like we stopped in front of them, but you weren't regular people were not allowed to walk up in them. So I
Right. To
don't
kind
know
of
if they were
preserve them,
actually
right?
right. I don't know if they were, like maybe reservation land, but I think
Mm.
or if they were just off limits because they were protected.
Right.
But
Yep. That
I
that would make sense.
remember even that was a time before I was, doing any kind of energy work, but I remember just standing there in awe of these things and wondering because you could tell that, maybe people lived up in there and maybe, there were rituals or things that happened up in there,
Hmm.
they were sacred. You could feel the sacred nature of these
Hmm.
things. So take some time wherever you are to check it out, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I had the I just, this just popped in my mind now. When I was a kid, I was probably 8 years old. Our family took a trip to Mexico, and one of the things we did is we climbed the Aztec pyramids in Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Right?
Oh my gosh.
I just thought of that now. That's been not in my mind for the last, what, 48 years or however old I am. And of course, an 8-year-old, I
You
wasn't,
don't you don't
I didn't
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. But just looking back now, like, wow, I wonder what the energy there would be like. Wouldn't that be amazing to
Oh,
go to now?
well, I mean, if you'd like to know, that's called visualize, align, surrender, right? Like,
True.
you can pull that back up. You can reconnect to that. You
Mm,
can you can reconnect to that 8-year-old and
okay.
experience that again. You can totally do that.
Sweet.
Like, you can. It's what
Here,
I
we need a
do. It is what I
shameless
do.
plug for Angie right here.
Yeah,
This is what
right.
she does,
It's
right?
what I
Seriously.
do.
That okay, all right. You're on. I would like to do that. Love to do
Okay.
that sometime.
Yeah, we can do that. I don't know. I mean, if you're willing, we could probably do it on the show. I bet lots of people have things they'd like to connect to. I don't know.
Sweet.
We'll see. Or we can talk. We can do it and then we can talk about it.
All right. That's a good idea
How's
too.
that? We can
All
do
right.
it separately and then
Yep.
we can give me another shameless plug because why not?
All right. Hey, actually, we're at the half hour point here.
Oh, we are
Let's
at the half
yeah,
hour
let's do our
point.
shameless plug.
So it is time for the shameless plug. All right, then. There you go. All right. What should we plug first?
The Oracle seance.
Oracle Seance. I'm so excited about this Oracle Seance. I
Me
have to
too.
tell you, what I mean, it's so cool how things kind of put themselves together. But the idea is for you, those of you that are listening, if you're interested you might have seen the event. It's on the Facebook page. It's in the group. It went out in an email blast. You'll be able to find it. In fact, we can even the name of it in the comments. Is that it's a more gentle way or a gallery setting. So if you've heard of like a mediumship gallery, this is a gallery setting like that. But we're
Hmm.
going to use oracle and tarot cards to actually make those connections for you. So it's a guided meditation.
Hmm.
It's first a prayer of intention where we set up a safe and sacred container within which you can connect with your loved ones and within which you can sort of help to make these connections for yourself. And then John and I will each take turns. I will draw the cards as a significator, in other words, to give you a clue as to who wishes to speak with you.
Hmm.
And then John will be pulling the cards to give you the
Right.
messages of love and hope and whatever your loved ones want you to know. And I am here to tell you they're always messages of love and hope.
Yep. I agree with that.
They are fine. They're always fine over there. And this to me is just a gentle way for you to be able to connect. And we're really limiting the size of this audience. So
To
that
give you
means
the attention.
everybody will have an opportunity to make a connection. And then you never discount the fact that, sometimes a message that comes through for one person can be meant for someone else also in the group
Hmm.
as well.
Yep.
So I'm really, really excited
Me too.
to do this one. So that is on Sunday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Central and 8 p.m. right Eastern, where
Yes.
you are.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and you can find it under special events on the scheduling tab on angieszxuh.com. You can find it listed on Lasting Serenity Facebook page, and you can also find it shared into the Lasting Serenity Insiders groups. I'm sure you'll be posting
Yeah.
links on
I'll be
your
posting it on
pages
my
as
groups
well.
as well for sure. Yep.
So we really hope that you'll join us. This is the pilot.
Hmm.
We're trying it out, but I know it's going to work and it's going to be amazing. And I'm so excited. And I'm
Yep.
really like the last 2 years has really taught me, all this sort of isolation that what I really want to do is work, and collaborate, collaborate,
I
collaborate,
I
collaborate.
couldn't agree more. I So when I do tarot readings for myself, the card that keeps coming up for me is the Three of Cups. It's usually a picture of three girls kind of hanging out together. That for me is the collaboration card.
Oh,
And
wow.
it keeps telling me, don't try and do this alone, right? Don't try and do this alone. Get together, work with your peers, work with your, you know, friends in the field to bring about great things together. I just am loving where that's going for us.
Yep, me too. Me too. So I'm really excited about that. So there's that one. And then of course there's, please run over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And
Yep.
now you can go over and subscribe to John's channel,
Right.
Tarot Geek, right?
Yep.
YouTube.
We'll put that in the notes too.
Yeah,
That was
we can actually put links in the comments.
okay.
So we can do that. We can put links in the comments.
Cool.
Um, so there's that. And then also on Wednesday, the 15th, with Lisa Hagen Buck, the astrologer, I'm doing another round of astrology and Akasha. This is the relationship edition. So this is going to be another one where we identify through the Akashic record and your astrology the way that you move through relationships so that you can leverage kind of who you are at soul level and at an astrological level, and also identify blocks and restrictions that are present in your Akashic record and do the clearing work for that.
Hmm.
So that is a part of that whole situation. Another small group, relatively small. It's a little bit bigger than the seance group, but
Cool.
it works out fine. So that's also listed under special events on angieszxuh.com, on the Lasting Serenity Facebook page and in the group. And then there was one more thing. Oh, yes, February 10th on this show, we will be talking about astrology
Yes.
because we will have Lisa as a guest on the show. So keep your eyes peeled in the group and on the Facebook page for a place to put your astrology questions, because we'd
She's going to
love to
answer them.
give to her. What do you want to know about astrology? Like, I know I'm a Libra. That's about it. So did we get it all?
Yep, I got one more, and that's my tarotgeek.com website.
Oh, there you
I'd
go.
love to have some more signups over there. If you sign up for my list, you get 50% off tarot reading, and you get to know when I'm doing my tarot Zoom parties. So those are monthly, but go to tarotgeek.com to sign up, and you'll be on the list.
Hmm, perfect. All right.
Should we do our Oracle deck review? I think it feels like that would be a good thing to do
Yep,
now.
I do too. All right. Let's just, oh dear. Well, forget that. I was trying to create a new banner, but we're just going to add this to the stream anyway.
Right.
All right. So I'm excited to review this deck. We're reviewing the Sword of Light Oracle by Radleigh Valentine, published by Hay House.
Yep.
And John and I both have pulled a card for you from this deck for everyone. So I have my card on the screen right now, and then when we get through all of this, then John will be giving you his. And we already know what the other one pulled, and we know that they go very well together. So
Yes, they
I'm really
do.
excited.
Yes, they do.
So we'll just leave that card of the day up there where you can see it right now. But let's just have a little chat about this deck. So how long have you had yours, John?
I got mine, let's see, maybe a month ago. I think
Oh,
in December. Yeah, I think I got this as part of Hay House's kind of the deck of the quarter. They have a subscription now. You can subscribe, and they'll send you 3 decks every quarter. And this was
oh
one of
wow.
them. Yeah. Well, and it wasn't really on my radar, and I got this. I'm like, whoa, this is pretty good. This is pretty
Yeah.
good. And then you happen to mention, oh, it's my favorite deck. I'm like, you know what? It's becoming mine too. There's some really cool things about it. Let's two things you love about the deck.
Well, first of all, I got it on my birthday. So I
Oh,
pre-ordered
perfect.
it and it was released on my birthday. I mean, like, how much better than that
Hello.
can it be? So there is that. I'm going to give you three just
Okay.
because. And you can actually see on the slide here, right in the center of on the right is the actual cover of the box, and that's Metatron's cube.
Yep.
And Metatron is my dude, man. Um, Metatron is Metatron is definitely my guy. So I mean, you know what I mean. Um, so there's that. But what I love about this deck the most is how easy it was to connect to
Hmm.
and how gentle and wonderful the messages are. Like
For
there's
sure.
no death card in here that anyone needs to be afraid. Not that you need to be afraid of the death card anyway, okay?
Right.
So don't get me wrong. But there's nothing like that. And when I took the cover off this deck and I felt the energy, and I felt the energy of a lot of his decks in the past and been like, wow, I
Hmm.
just don't see how it could be any better. And then I got this one and I was like, well, now I know. Because,
For sure.
all of his other decks are tarot decks,
Right.
right?
Right. I think,
And
is this his first oracle? I think it is.
yes, it is. It's his first oracle. I hope it's not his last. Um, but because I am not as versed on the framework of tarot, could I learn it? Yeah, but I'm kind of old and, whatever.
Well, you do
Um,
intuitive stuff, so you can kind of, yeah. Anyway,
Right. I still read using, tarot cards, but I don't actually apply the framework. I can do a perfectly wonderful reading with tarot cards without having that framework in my head.
mhm.
Although I would love to be able to say, "Oh, I drew the 3 of cups and to me that means collaboration." I would love to be able to say that. One
Yep.
day maybe I will, but you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
I I appreciate the framework. It's not that I don't want to learn it. It's just that it's repetitive and I'm a little bit like squirrel, right?
Been there. Yep.
So for me, this deck is just, it's a go-to. I mean, I've used it for significators to get
Mm,
messages from loved ones. I connected with my mother through this deck.
cool.
I've connected with my guides using this deck and drawing, a significator. So, I mean, what's not to love?
Right.
What about you? What are the, 2 or 3 things that
Yeah.
you love?
So for practical reasons, oracle decks, I like how they put kind of like the main theme of the deck right on the card, and then either the mantra or a little bit more detail right on the card. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to go to the book,
Right,
you can
and
do
I
a
am.
complete reading right from the cards.
Yeah, and
Now,
I
this
rarely read a book, so yeah, I
Okay,
get it.
so this is where we differ because I love to go into the detail of the books. So even when I'm reading for myself or trying to read for other people, after the reading's done, I'll say, "Would you like to dig in and get a little more detail from the guidebook?" And quite often people say, "Sure." So the guidebook is really well done. I love because he has a couple little meditations and prayers of setting the intention in the book, and then each of the cards is in detail, even a deeper dive for what the card's about in the book. The book is written from the perspective of Archangel Michael.
Right.
So that's the whole point of this whole deck. You can even see it right at the top there on the screen, the Archangel Michael Sword of Light Oracle. But he takes that theme through every single um, explanation of every single card in the book. So I love how it's very um, focused around that energy, and the depth that he goes through in some of the cards is really it's really spectacular.
It really is, and, here's another thing about it that I love is how inclusive it is. Archangel Michael
Mm,
is represented in many ways.
that's
Archangel
true.
Michael is represented as a woman.
Hmm.
Archangel Michael is represented in more than one color. Archangel Michael, like here you go. I just happen to be going through it. I don't know, can you actually see
Yep,
that?
I
This
can.
is this is the female representation of Archangel Michael. I mean, isn't it amazing? The artwork
Yes.
is amazing. The
Yeah,
energy from this deck is spectacular.
I like the
Um,
artwork better on this deck than some of his previous decks. His other decks, the artworks tend to be a little bit too gaudy's not the right word, but
I'm not a big one for, I don't read so much from the artwork, but a lot of people that I know read every little detail.
mm, yep.
From the picture of the, on the card. So
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I see what it says. It, I go for it. So I don't know. Here we go. This is my favorite one of them. This is
Yeah,
this is
I
a
know. I like
very
that one too.
lovely representation of Archangel Michael.
I had just pulled that one myself.
And then this is Radleigh's dog,
Cool.
Jace.
Hey, Radleigh, if you're listening to this, we love you, man.
Yep. And actually, this is Radleigh's dog, Jace, and little Radleigh. That is, Radleigh is represented in this deck. So I don't know if some of you may or may not know, John and I have both studied tarot under Radleigh, and I have done quite a few other programs with him.
Yep.
So I've had the opportunity to meet him, and I've had the opportunity to hear him speak about this deck.
Yep. He's a true gem.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, look at that. I've got 444 right here. All right. So if you'd like to check out the deck for yourself, you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Hay House. Every now and then, if you pay attention on Hay House, they do those, pretty nice discounts. So you might be able to get it at a discount.
Yep.
If you love it, let us know. We'd like to hear, because that's one of the reasons we want to do these reviews. So
right.
we're gonna, or if you have a deck that you're thinking about, and you'd like us to review it, chances are pretty good that one of us has it. At least one of us has it,
Yep.
right? And we'd be happy to do that for you. So let us know in the comments, or reach out through the Facebook page or in the Facebook group. We're going to try in that group to, post more questions and things to give you a little bit more opportunity to kind of, guide us where we go with this. So do you have anything else to wrap up on the Sword of Light?
I think there was one thing that I wanted to pull out here. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So this is going back to just using the book. Quite often people, so tarot teachers will say, throw the book out. You don't need it. You just use your intuition. I think the book is well worth reading through. So this one might be an exception if that's kind of your style, because he has.
No, I don't believe in throwing them out.
Okay.
Let me be clear. I guess
let
me clear that up a little bit.
Right.
I rarely use the book because I'm usually in some kind of a time constraint.
True.
Because readings have time limits, or because I'm on Facebook Live, and I don't want people to, but there is much value in a lot of the guidebooks. One of the thing about Radleigh Valentine's decks, though, is that there's a lot of information right on the card itself.
On the card. Absolutely.
So, sometimes that's enough to spark my intuition in a way that I can deliver. Oh yeah, I love that deck too. Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. Anyway, sometimes what it says on the card is enough to spark my intuition to get that message through. But other times, if it's like, what's happening here? You got to keep the
reading moving.
Keep the reading moving, and you've got to keep the you've got to keep it consistent with the intention of the card and the way that it was written, I think. So that's but I'm with you. The problem, here's another problem with the book. Teeny weeny little words. Okay? Just saying.
Right.
I'm Funny, just saying.
The further along I get in life, the more that matters.
Yep. I'm telling you, didn't used to, but it does now.
Right there with you, Angie.
So, I mean,
there's bifocals in my future.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I'm not a fan of. So these are for up close, but they're not so great for far away. And so that's a problem. These are actually prescription, but they're not for far away. So I can't see the computer screen. I can see up
for
close.
reading.
You can't, but I have trouble with bifocals because I get nauseous.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's me. Anyway, all right. Well,
You want to read?
any
Let's. I
final
was going
words
to
on the deck?
let's read the two cards we pulled. Card of the day for this episode.
Absolutely.
Why don't you take yours
Absolutely.
and then I'll take mine.
All right. So mine is number 4, and it is be a light to others. Wow. I mean, how appropriate, right?
Right?
And this
That's
card
what
is
we're
actually
doing.
telling you, if you look at the message on the card itself, you have a powerful message. If you are here, if you are hearing us, you have a message to give to the world. And whether that message is delivered, oh wow, this is good. Whether that message is delivered through your actions or by actually going out and doing some kind of light work business,
Nice.
it doesn't matter because it just means be a light to others. So, wow, I mean, I've
Yeah.
said so many times that you spread the light by walking in it, right? Not everybody is cut out to be a reader or an
Mm-hmm.
energy worker or a nurse or a doctor or you know any one of those millions of occupations that could
Mm-hmm.
be considered light work, right? Healers and teachers and but just because you don't feel the pull to one or another of those things doesn't mean you can't walk around and be kind. It doesn't mean you can't walk around and be generous with your
Yes.
time. It doesn't
Absolutely.
have to be your money. It can be your time. It can be with gratitude. I mean, if people would just be more generous with gratitude,
I
we'd
couldn't
be
say it
lighting
better
up the
myself.
world right now. So,
Absolutely. Right.
I think that's really, an amazing, and especially right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now,
So
and an
needed.
interesting thing, uh, right now and until April, and we'll talk more about this, of course, on February 10th, all the planets are direct. All of them. There is no
Oh.
retrograde right now.
Oh,
So
yes, yes. I did know that.
this is the time to launch, to put things out there, to finish things, to get done. So if you have something you're working on, do it now because
Hmm.
you're almost assured to be successful.
Sweet.
If you're smart, right? Like not smart, that's the wrong word. If you're, what is
Put your
that
mind to
word?
it. Diligent.
Mindful, right?
Yeah.
If you're
Yep.
mindful. So yeah, so be a light to others. Number 4. I
I
love
love
it.
that. That's so good.
And you actually got number 1, didn't you?
Yes, I pulled number one earlier today, and the number one card. I'll just hold it up here real quick after I drop it.
I'm gonna close the screen so you're bigger on the
Oh,
screen.
okay,
There
cool.
you go.
So there, you should be able to see that.
I love that card. I
And it
love
says,
that card so much.
all is in perfect timing. And the picture is of a doors being flung open, filling the room with light, and then sending a little bit of gold coin your way. So the words on the card, all is in perfect timing. This is it. It's time to take action now. I will be here to help you every step of the way. And what did you just say, Angie? Now is the time
Now is the
to
time.
act. And you didn't even see this card before we did this. Now is the time. Angie just said, now is the time. If you had any doubt in your mind that this woo, here it is, right? Here it is.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, right? Like that's amazing. Oh, wow. And the mind kind of boggles at the subjects it opens up for the next 3 months.
Right?
What are you working on?
Yeah.
What are you working on? What are you trying to put together? What would you love to put out into the world? How can we help you? What can we tell you? Um like there's just so much. There's so much.
I would love to have some input from listeners. Hey, how do I handle this situation? How do I launch this particular new thing I'm trying to do? That would be so much fun to kind of pick that apart and look at it energetically.
no doubt, there's so many ways to look at it energetically. I make energetic connections for people like that all the time. I mean, it literally is visualize, align, surrender. Does that mean you don't need to take action? Of course not. But if you can figure out what it is that you want, and then you can take action and move yourself into alignment with it, then you can just step back and say, take it away, you know, bring it
Yep.
to me. So, yes, that would be amazing. Wow. What I mean,
Sweet.
we need to do this. We need to figure out what common decks we have, and we need to
Hmm.
pull two cards every week. We need to
Okay.
for the card of the day, it'll be two cards of the day. You pull one, I'll pull the other, and we'll, watch how that manifests itself into,
Right.
some
The
really powerful
connections between
messages.
them. Yes, the
Yes.
connections between them.
Oh,
That's,
how exciting is
oh,
this?
I
I
know. I'm looking
love
forward to
how
that.
every week we come up with something new. That's amazing.
Just keeps getting better and better.
Wow. Wow, and we're like almost out of time. So
Yeah.
I see, and I'm thinking it's Joanne said she really loves Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray. I don't know if I still have those cards.
I have Kyle
I
Gray's Angel Prayer Oracle cards.
Oh, okay.
That's
And
this one here.
I th- is there one Guardians of the Light maybe?
Yes. I don't think I have that. Or maybe I do.
I have so many decks. I have decks that I haven't actually cracked open yet. Like it's ridiculous.
Oh, here's
Um
the other Kyle Gray one I have. Let's see. Raise Your Vibration Oracle.
oh, interesting.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't. Oh, I love the look of it.
Yeah, I do too.
I love the look of it.
All right, you know what? Because this
Pull
was
it.
on the bottom of the pile, this is now on the top of my pile, and I will pull cards from that this week.
All right, that sounds great. Wow. Holy cow. What another wonderful day. And we had people that joined us and we had people that stayed with us from beginning to end. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you're
Honestly.
there,
Yep.
that you're listening. And if you take away any little nugget from what it is we have to say, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for that.
I
Um
100% there. I totally agree. I love connecting with people on the woo stuff, and when we get that two-way connection, it's just delicious.
it is, right? It is. So the Angels and Ancestors Oracle, she says uses Native American essence.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that'll be something we should check out because we can.
Yeah.
Who whose cards are on sale on Hay House right now? I want to say Kyle Gray's. I want to say I saw a post that said Kyle Gray's cards are on sale right now on Hay House.
You've taken classes with Kyle Gray, haven't you?
No,
Not yet? Okay.
no, no. And I would love to,
I
but
have
they just haven't shook out.
there's a class that Hay House had that was like 7 or 8 different tarot authors and leaders, and each of them had a little segment on each topic. So I got to see Kyle Gray through that class. It was a recorded class; it wasn't live, but that was really good. I got to learn Kyle Gray, Colette Baron Reed, Radleigh Valentine was on it. Um, Sandra Ann Taylor was on it. So all the kind of the some of the bigger names in tarot all had a little segment in this class, and it was really really good. Highly recommend that class. Um, I'm not going to be a Hay House fanboy here. Well, actually, I am kind of a Hay House fanboy. They have really good stuff, and the classes, both their live classes and the recorded classes, are really excellent.
That's amazing. Um she's asking if there's a way to send us a picture of the deck.
If she puts it in the Facebook group,
If she puts it on the can't she just she can just take a picture of it on the comment, no? Right?
oh yeah, that should work. And then I think you might be able to bring that onto the main screen.
I might be able to. I'm not
Tell you what,
positive.
do you want to work on that? And I'm going to go back to our spiritual places in the world um, topic from earlier in the day. I wanted to list a couple that I've always wanted to go to.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, please do. We
so
have a couple more minutes.
okay, cool. Machu Picchu is in Peru, and it's this. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of an archaeological amazing place. It's way high up in the Andes Mountains, and you can, if you visit there, you can walk through the ruins and literally participate in the energy of one of these amazing archaeological finds. So that's one I wanted to. That's one on my list. Um, I have been to Stonehenge. Stonehenge is probably one of my favorite places in the world. There's just standing in that ancient, amazing circle of stones is truly, it kind of leaves you speechless. And what's really cool is the more I learn about Stonehenge. Did you know in the UK there are dozens, if not more, little tiny Stonehenges all over the country. They're not as big and grand as the main Stonehenge, but there's little rock circles found all throughout the country, and each one of them is an
Well,
energy
sure,
center.
because I watch Outlander, right? I think that's the same thing, isn't it? Maybe not. They are circles, though.
Yep, there's the rock circles, and they form. They're the same energy and the same purpose that Stonehenge was put together for. Oh, another place on my
Is,
list.
isn't aren't there like Stonehenge Day? You know,
Um,
like you know what I mean? Like
yes.
isn't Stonehenge celebrated? Like doesn't it have its own day?
Well, the equinoxes and the solstices, summer solstice and winter solstice, the sun when it sets lines up with certain stones in Stonehenge. So you can go there. I was there very, very, very near summer solstice when I visited some Stonehenge, and you could see when the sun was starting to set that it was going to line up right along one of the stones. So that, yes.
Well, there you
So
go.
it was designed by people with a very keen knowledge of astronomy, and clearly the energy of that place is just wonderful.
Wow. So now I know that I have actually a family in the audience. That's my daughter-in-law. So she was
Cool.
talking about the Shadowscapes tarot. So I did look it up. That looks like a cool deck. So we've got our work cut out for us, John.
I
We're gonna
know.
have we're gonna oh darn, I'm gonna have to buy some new decks. Shoot.
Hey, we just needed an excuse, right? All we
Ain't
needed was
that
an
the truth?
excuse,
I mean, right? And we each have to get one.
right? I will.
Oh, that's amazing. I would love to it actually looks like a very cool deck. I would
Hmm,
love, like that's the whole idea. We want to review. And oh, P.S. Wendy was here the whole hour again. So thank you very much, Wendy. Um I try to say thank you to everybody when I can.
hmm.
Although it'll be weird on the podcast, right? But you can cut the last 2 minutes off the podcast.
Sure. We'll or the podcast will just go out to the same listeners, and they'll get to hear their name
And
on
they'll
the
get
air.
yeah, that's true. So anyway, all right. Well, I mean, we started a couple minutes late, so ending a couple minutes late is just fine.
Sure.
Um, wow, like there's so much more to talk about places, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
Like
do a redo.
there's, I mean, it, just really quick, like a lot of people I don't think about this, but the beaches, right?
Ooh.
The beaches in Hawaii,
Hmm.
they've got black and white and like but the beaches, wherever there are beaches, wherever
Lake
there is
Michigan.
sand, okay? Do you know
That's my
what
babe.
sand is? Sand is millions and millions and millions of tiny little crystals.
Crystals.
That's what sand is. No doubt.
Just
That's
just
what
saying.
sand is.
That's
So,
wow, I never thought of that. But
right?
so what's cool about if you're drawn to water like I
I
am,
am not, but
okay, see, I'm drawn to water. So my favorite place to be is on a beach with about this much water where I can walk through and feel the water and feel the motion of the waves, but also
oh, I
being
could
have
do
my
that.
feet directly on the ground. So I've got ground and water and wind all at the same time.
It's like all the elements.
Right. The beach has all the elements. It's the coolest place in the world.
I can see that. I don't swim with fish poop, so
You know what? Lake Michigan, it's diluted so that you never know
it doesn't matter.
it.
I know it. No way. It's like I have that foul playlist. If
Yeah.
I died drowning in Lake Michigan or flipped over in a kayak, investigate because there was foul play.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
You won't catch me in a river or a lake. No, no, no. I swim in a pool with chlorine. I'm good.
Perfect.
Anyway, that's enough of my idiosyncrasies for the day. Um, Thank you all for joining us. I mean,
This was
really,
great. I enjoyed this a lot.
honestly, we didn't think about it, but we could, or maybe we did think about it. We could do a whole episode about, tarot and the oracle and different cards and different ways to use them and get some comments.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, yes, Anderson Japanese Gardens. It
Ooh.
is here in Illinois. It is not far from here. It is a place I've been dying to go to,
Well,
which
even the Botanic Gardens just north of Chicago is amazing too.
hmm
I've been
yeah,
there a number of times. We were members for a
oof,
while. Love that place.
it's good stuff. Like there's so many good places. Right, Rockford. It's in Rockford. It's not far
Oh,
from where I live. I mean,
okay. Hmm.
so maybe I'll take a trip out there and live stream one day. That'd be cool.
Oh,
I
that
don't
would
know if
be
if
fun.
they allow it, as long as I will never do it if they don't allow it, but if they allow it,
Angie
I will
plays by
do
the
it.
rules.
Always. Always. Can't go in through the outdoor, just can't.
All
Anyway.
right. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks
All
for
right.
listening.
Thank you all so much for listening and join us next week when our topic is, what did we say? We decided what it was.
Yep. Put me on the spot here.
I know, right? We should know that.
Here it
We
is.
should be on top of these things.
Oh,
I would
no, it
love
isn't.
that, Wendy. We will do that.
Okay. Next week's topic is taking the other side.
Hmm. That's gratitude and
Gratitude versus
polarity
greed.
and
Warrior versus rebel. Importance of polarity. How you represent yourself versus how you are.
amazing. That's going to be a good one.
Yep.
All right. Well, once again, thank you, everyone. We've gone over, but we started a couple minutes late, so I'm happy with that. Thank you, and for those of you who have been here more than once, I really, really, really appreciate you, and I'm so happy that you have enjoyed our conversations enough to join again.
Hmm.
And please
Thank
feel
you for
free in
coming.
the comments, or like when I post the next one, when I post the next one, feel free to put in the comments something you'd like to hear us talk about, a question you have, or a comment or a thought or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Well, that's it for us.
See
I'm
y'all.
Angie. He's
I'm John.
John. This is Does It Resonate with You? And we will see you later.